Good morning. Good morning. Let me say how happy I am to be with you this morning. I've already been told that the congregation here present represents a number of countries from within the continent of Africa and from outside of Africa, and that it is, in a manner of speaking, the United Nations in microcosm. I have been asked to speak on a subject that allows me to mention a number of things, but because this is a Christian setting, I've chosen to predicate my speech upon 3 Bible verses. The very first one is to be found in the book of Daniel. And you will remember that in the book of Daniel, the story is told of King Nebuchadnezzar and how he conquered the territory that was occupied by the Jewish people. And we are told that immediately he made that conquest, he asked one of his officers to identify from within the ranks of the conquered people intelligent individuals. And the Bible records in that book of Daniel that they identified Daniel. They also identified an individual called Ananias, and they identified another individual called Mishael, and a third one called Azariah. And the Bible proceeds to tell us that they were all renamed Belshazzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And there is a sense in which it is those given names that they are known by throughout the ages. And we are told that they were schooled in the arts and that they were some of the most intelligent individuals. If one were to be dramatic about it, one may say that they gained admission into the University of Nebuchadnezzar. And if one says so, that there were certain protocols to be followed once you joined the University of Nebuchadnezzar. Number 1, that you are to eat from the king's table and to drink the king's wine. But these individuals were so wedded to their own conviction for their own God that they made a request of the king's attendants that they be allowed to take food that was not served from the king's table. And we are told that after 10 days, they were better than everybody else. And we are further told that on the day of graduation, when they were examined, they were 10 times better than everybody else. That is the first verse in the Bible, the first chapter in the Bible, upon which I'll predicate my presentation. The second chapter in the Bible on which I shall predicate my presentation is to be found in the book of 1 Kings at chapter 18. It is a story with which you are familiar. It's the story that gives us Ahab in the Bible and gives us one of the most notorious women in the Bible, Jezebel. And we are told that there had been no rain in that land for a long time. And the story we are told of a man called Obadiah, who was sent by Ahab to go and look out for the prophet Elijah. And we were told how this Obadiah was scared. And we are also told how God instructed this Elijah to go to the palace of Ahab. And we are told how when Elijah confronted Ahab, he told him that I'm the only one of the prophets of the Lord who is still alive. That is not to say that Obadiah had not hidden 50 others, 50 in one cave and 50 in another cave. And we are told that Elijah said, let us not be of two opinions. If indeed God is God, let us worship God. And if Baal is God, let us worship Baal. And we are told that he asked, bring out the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah who have been dining at the table of Jezebel. And there was a competition, if you may, that took place at Mount Carmel. And the story is told of how they prayed unto their God and how they were mocked by Elijah and nothing came to pass. And ultimately, when Elijah had his opportunity, we are told that fire came down from heaven and it consumed everybody else. And we are told how the prophets of Baal were then executed. Then the final chapter in the Bible, book in the Bible, if you may, that I want to refer to is the book of the prophet Joshua, chapter 24 to be exact. And this is a very critical time when Joshua has taken over from Moses and the Israelites are about to go into the promised land. And we are told that Joshua gathered all the children of Israel. And the story is told of how he reminded the people when they were across the river that Abraham's father Terah worshipped gods other than the real God. And he tells the people, choose you now whom you shall serve. Shall you serve the gods that your fathers worshipped across the river, or the Lord of the Amorites in whose land you dwell? As for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. I've chosen to predicate my conversation with you this morning 3 chapters in the Bible, because even if you chose not to be a Christian, they are relevant, particularly to young people and particularly to young Africans. And I'm acutely aware that there are other people who are not Africans, and that is also acutely relevant to you, because I've been asked to talk about the time is now. And let me speak to my African brethren first. Just this morning when I woke up, I was listening to somebody who is going to be the presidential candidate in Sierra Leone, the former Director General of UNIDO. And he was wondering to himself, why is it that Africa continues to punch below her weight, economically, politically, and otherwise? We are a continent of 1 billion people.